Now, as a brand, SoundShield hasn't been around for 40 years. But in the time that it has been around, boy, has it made an impact. Somehow, this brand has made it into some of the top installs across North America and beyond. And there's a reason for it. Obviously, it's a great product, but there is a driving force by the name of John Schwartz that we have the pleasure of going one-on-one with today. We're going to find out the details, the success stories, and the latest products coming to you from SoundShield. This is CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM, and it starts now. And we're back. Welcome to CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. I have our good friend, and honestly, John, kind of like a industry icon or big brother, John Schwartz. You're everywhere I go. Doesn't matter what show. The amount of jobs and the installs that I see coming from your socials on all the social platforms is crazy. It just seems like your brand and you are literally everywhere at the same time. So, I mean, there's a lot I want to talk to you about. I guess I want to start with SoundShield, right? For those that don't know, you are actually an owner of a shop located in Anchorage, Alaska, of all places, that runs a very successful shop. And one day you decided to create this SoundShield brand. So give us the Coles notes on how this actually happened.
Well, first, great to be back on the show, man. I really appreciate it. And yeah, it's been a ride. It's my 36 year in the industry and 27 years at my shop. And, just love the industry, man. It's all I've ever done my whole life, so I just love to be a part of it and made so many good friends through it all. So, so as you can hear in the background, sorry, we're in my shop actually here in Alaska.
You don't have to apologize for having a busy shop, by the way, my friend. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, we're Perfection Solid Sound. And anyway, yeah, so we, one association that we have is a security company called CompuStar. And I was doing a lot of traveling for it, and I met up with a buddy. I started doing the distribution for CompuStar in Australia. And so we started a brand down there back in 2015. And basically what it was is, we came up with some material and we just thought, man, this stuff is so awesome and it saves time. And if we love to install it so much, then everybody else would probably love it. So anyway, some things went on and this and that. And then the funny thing is I got the first 100 rolls, and I flew back from Australia. I went to Knowledge Fest, and we won Retailer of the Year for the second time. It was really amazing. I was exhausted from flying all night and everything, but I taught 4 classes that day. Then we had the award show that night, won Retailer of the Year, then flew home, and then the first 100 rolls of our material was here. So I had an idea. I was like, okay, keep it in my shop and just try to push it and stuff. But then I thought, man, I'm really lucky, and I know all the best people in the industry. So I just went to like the packaging store and I bought 100 boxes, and I shipped 1 roll to the best guys in the whole industry that I thought, and everybody around the same week got a roll in, and then that was how we started the company,
Amazing story.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and then so basically that's how it was. Eventually me and my old partner, we ended up splitting up, and then I left the company. And then the good thing about that though is I got to think of all the problems that I had and different things like that. So I went back to the drawing board and redesigned everything from the ground up. So new adhesive, new rubber, new foam, new everything. And so that's kind of what happened. So then Perfections again was a test bed, and we made sure it was better. And then like my guys like, man, we need something bigger, because up in Alaska, as you can imagine, we do a lot of trucks. Right. So Dodge Rams, Toyota Tundras, the doors are so big. So with our regular tube, it was just, we'd always have to put a seam in. So then we say, hey, let's create something bigger. So we called it massive. And, the kind of the joke of it was, you wanted it wider and longer. So we put that on the box too, so kind of fun to have your own company, because you could just put those pretty things on there.
Well, listen, if SoundShield's not fun, I don't know what it is. If you guys don't follow them on their socials, they've got so many crazy installs all over the place. It really sets the bar very, very high. So you mentioned a lot there, John. I'm happy you told us the story. We're going to break this conversation down into 2 parts. First, we want to understand, obviously, the product side of things, what the offering is, the evolution of SoundShield as a catalog. But then we're going to talk about the business side of things, because you guys are setting the bar as far as how to sell this category and be successful at it and be profitable at it. So we're going to get into that in the latter half of this conversation. So going back to the product right now, you started with the original material. For those of you who don't know, we're talking about a premium sound deadening material called SoundShield. We're with the owner, John Schwartz. and then you evolve that into a larger format of the same material, but a larger format based on demand, the big trucks. And then a whole bunch of other products kind of came into the mix, like Rapid and Contour. Talk to us quickly about these two products.
Yeah, so Rapid was pretty cool, and by going to all the shows and again meeting all the installers and everybody always has an idea, and some ideas are really good, and some, you're kind of like, well, you're the first guy that's asked about it. So as a manufacturer, it's tough to give everybody every idea. But Rapid was super cool. So we work a lot with Mark from Cardio Fabrication, on YouTube, and we were just talking about stuff. And a lot of us old installers, like you're in the trunk and you're sounding the whole thing, and then you got some harnesses hanging down, or something rattling. So us old school guys, we grab some box carpet and wrap it up, and then some electrical tape or something, and stuff it in a hole somewhere.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, whatever it takes, right? So
Yeah.
then, so Mark suggests, hey man, why don't you take your foam layer and make a tape out of it, and then you can actually wrap the harness. I was like, oh, that's a pretty good idea. So we talked about it a little bit, and then literally one night, me and my brother, we were at dinner, and I just had a notebook, and we just started drawing it all out and figuring out what the best size would be. And so we came up with the dimensions, and then we got our first samples, and I was like, oh man, this stuff is awesome because it wraps really nice. So then we were thinking, oh, you can wrap it, and then it sticks, it sticks to itself. So you can wrap it, then you can strap it. So,
Exactly. Well,
yeah,
I've seen it used in so many different ways. I've seen people put like
yeah,
Maestro units on top of radios in between, so
hmm,
there's no vibration. I've seen
that's right.
huge wiring harnesses that touch on metal. I
Hmm.
played. If you haven't played with the stuff, that's closed cell foam, is it not?
That's
The
right. Yeah,
Rapid material,
closed cell acoustic foam. Yeah, so
and
it's
it's
awesome, man.
super sticky, like
Super
really
sticky. Yeah,
sticky on
and
itself.
I've
Oof.
had, yeah, I've had a couple guys actually, when they're doing like the tweeter, like in a sail plate, and
Mm-hmm.
you're using some little bit of fiberglass and Bondo or whatever in there,
Mm-hmm.
unless you're 3D printing it. But even with that, that'd be cool. But a lot of times, like actual sound deadening is too thick to kind of stiffen that panel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what these guys will do is they'll take some Rapid and they can actually roll that in there, and that helps fight some of that resonant vibration, little buzz from whatever. And some guys like, oh man, this is the best thing I can find for it. It's nice and thin, So and
Now,
so yeah, so that,
Rapid for me is like a must-have to have around, because when you don't know what to do, chances are Rapid will fix it. Like that's kind of what I
mhm,
feel about Rapid, right? Um,
yeah.
Now, touch quickly on Contour.
So Contour is pretty cool. So it's actually kind of a funny story because when I had my other company, we had actually had created a ring, like we did a closed cell acoustic foam ring, and there was another company out there that had a patent on it. So a lot of guys, had to come up with some different strategy. So it was a bad thing and a good thing. Good thing was I had already left the company, so I didn't have any problem with the patent, which is nice. And then B, it made us get more creative. So the idea with Contour is gives you a nice thick acoustic ring that can help couple the speaker to the door panel, which is going to help force that sound inside. So now with it being strips, you get 6 strips in a box, and then you also get four damping pads that go behind the driver. But the strips are long enough that you can do a 6x9, or you can cut it down. So we give you the 6 strips, so you can do either like a 3-way set in the front, or you can do a component set. So you have your mid and high, and then let's say a coax on the back. So you have enough for all 4 doors. So it's been actually a really really good addition to the brand because I think people just love it. It's a great kind of end seller because the client really doesn't see a lot of the big stuff, right? They just know they're getting some. But Contour is something you can have on the front desk, and you say, "Oh, and you're also getting this. This is an additional thing we're adding." And so it adds a lot of value. You're already in the door, so it's super easy to install.
And it works.
And yeah, and it works.
And
It's
it
a nice
works.
product.
That's it. And
Yeah,
the story.
yeah.
So we talked about original massive Rapid Contour. There's a base material that's available as well. But I'm going to fast forward to the exciting thing.
Mhm.
Finally, a new, really doesn't replace or duplicate anything in the lineup. This product is called Gasket. So I'm
Mhm.
going to let you explain the story behind Gasket and why, well, basically, everybody needs it, installer wise. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, so gasket's really cool. So here's the actual material here. Again, you can see this big old sheet. um, so gasket was again based out of something like we went to Knowledge Fest, and there's an amazing installer. His name's Sage. He works with Orca a lot. Everybody in the industry knows him. He's a phenomenal installer. Those guys are down in Tennessee. Anyway, me and him were talking at a show one day, and he was like, "Bro, you know what you got to do? I love the Rapid stuff. We need to do something different, you know, and it'd be awesome if you had something we could laser cut. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea, you know. So I was like, okay, yeah. So we kind of talked about it a little bit, and then, you know, life kind of keeps moving. And then anyway, I was at work one day and watching my guy. So he had a ring similar to this. And, you know, like I was saying before, you had some material on it, and then you're using a razor blade to kind of clean it up. And I was like, gosh, man, it's so, you know, just not that it's like wasteful time, but it is, you know, you're kind of just doing this thing here that's kind of tedious, and it never looks as good as like your ring does, you know. So I had some old Rapid from one of the original samples, and I had like a 10-inch wide kind of chunk. So I was, hey, try this out, and it, you know, then this is kind of the result, and it looked really, really good. And he was like, man, this is perfect, because even if you could see these tiny holes here, you know, how are you going to clean that out with a razor blade? That's tough. You know, you might use a drill bit or something, but it just doesn't look finished like this. Like, this is a really nice, you know, you want to show this to the customers. That's how we made something like this. And again, you know, you get it to the next level. Actually, Angel from Lake Town Speed and Sound, you know, he's the one that showed me these cool press-in threads for the plastics and stuff. So these are like, now it's just standard practice at perfectionists, you know. So you show this to a client, and it adds value. So when they ask, you know, why does this cost so much or something, you know, if you have this kind of prop and you can show them, well, this is how we do it. No other shop, you know, maybe none of your competitors are doing something like that. And, you know, so I looked at it on two sides. When I started in the industry, I was an installer first, so I can get the idea. And then, you know, so then B, the other hat's the business owner, right? So it's efficient. My guy's not wasting time doing something like that.
Well,
And it
hold
looks
on. I'm going to stop you there just so we understand. Like, that sheet is a large sheet. You could actually cut multiple at the same time, right? So
absolutely.
especially if it's an application that you know you're going to have again, like a repeat,
Mhm.
you can actually all cut them one time and not be wasteful with any of the material at all, right?
Well, if you see behind me here, you see those rings hanging on the wall.
Mhm.
So we have 4 3D printers that we use, and then we also have right here beside me. You can't really see it, but it's my laser right here. So my laser is literally this size. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's 18 by 32. And you know, some of you guys got big lasers, and some guys, you know, like when I started with the laser, I actually had a glow forge, which was like 12 by 20.
Everybody starts with
So
a glow forge,
yeah, I
right?
love
Yeah,
that
yeah.
thing. Man, I beat the hell out of mine, and
Mm-hmm.
during COVID, man, I was making so many face shields in it. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, yeah. So if you look at like this is like a 5 by 7, 6 by 8 replacement ring. So
Mm-hmm.
literally on this sheet, I mean, you could probably cut eight of these out in one shot,
Right.
which is cool. And so you know, you guys, you know how it is. You guys are working on the car, running cables and stuff. Come over here, lay it out, hit print, and then just walk away for an hour, and you come back, and then you know all these guys are sitting on the table just waiting for you. Then all you'd have to do at this point, you know, you'd have to clean up this a little bit. The laser doesn't do that, but it'll still cut these holes out for you. But then press these guys in, and you're done.
And it looks
And then,
super
like I said,
classy.
yeah,
Mm.
and then so you see them hanging on the wall, and the nice thing, you know, um, with them like that, like Angel when he was doing it was pretty cool. He, you know, I don't know if he knew how to use it first or not, but he just threw the material on the laser and just cut the gasket
Mm.
out. But it still fit perfect when he put it on. So however
Right.
you want to do it.
Yeah.
But like the idea is yeah, you know, we want to get to the idea of, you know, to be more efficient and to be more profitable, we have to be, you know, let's say you're manufacturing in a sense for your shop. So by having 3D printers and having files and things like that,
Repeatable processes.
yeah,
Yeah.
you literally, you know, you're going to go home, and you know you got a Jeep coming in tomorrow, man. You hit print before you leave. You come home, boom, you got speaker
Ready to
adapters.
go.
No
Gotcha.
more next day air. Hey man, oh, I forgot to order the adapters. I need the car for another day. You know, something like
Exactly. So that
that.
there is the brand new, folks, gasket material coming to you from SoundShield. We've got John Schwartz himself in the house. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to break down some of John's secrets. Yes, secrets of how to optimize this category for your shop. Don't you dare go away.
Hey, Paul with SiriusXM here, and with 3 easy steps, you can maximize your business. Number 1, make sure you have the current promotional material up. Understand the offer? Make sure your team knows it. 2, have a unit on display. Set the presets to different genres so you can recommend and play the music that your customer listens to. And number 3, think about this. Most vehicles you're replacing the head unit with already has a SiriusXM tuner in it. So adding it just requires an antenna adapter, a SiriusXM tuner. It's a 30-second install and you're done. So there it is, guys. 3 easy steps to maximize every sale this season with SiriusXM.
All right, right, and we're back. So, John, before the break, we're talking about, the different products you have. For those that don't understand that it's not just one material. SoundShield is like a suite of products that help with installation, maximizing processes, and ultimately providing the best materials that'll help control the resonance and the vibrations in a car. All right, so we got past that. Let's talk about the business side of things, because I feel like I've had this conversation with so many dealers. I don't want to be the bringer of bad news, but like there's dealers out there that just don't feel like this is a thing. Like they will do the bare minimum, like a little sheet of something just to minimize some vibration. But then I look at your timeline, look at your socials, you're doing full out vans, you're doing different material, you're doing inside out, and it is a priority as far as your store goes. So I really want to get some insight as to how you have found success. Let's break this part down. I guess the first thing is walk us through your sales process, right? A customer comes through the door. Like, where does it come into the conversation? How do you kind of massage that?
Oh man, well, this is actually really cool. I feel like, and yeah, you're 100% right, and it's something that I think even before I owned a company, I was really believed in the whole process of it. And a lot of people definitely, I go to their shop and man, they would just have like one box that was like 5 years old of some sound deadening, and I'm like, man, what's going on, right? So I think that the idea of what happens is, these guys they don't want to learn about it, or they don't know enough about it. They feel confident to sell it to the client, and then the first rule that you should never do is shop with your wallet instead of their wallet. So I think that a lot of times these guys are like, well, if I add on an extra $1,200, $800, $2,000, whatever in sound deadening, they're gonna be like, I'm gonna lose the sale. But so anyway, what we do first is we have to educate the client, and the best way to do that is, for example, okay, Ben, you walk into my store, hey man, I'm looking for some new speakers. My speakers don't sound good. Okay, man, well, let's check it out. What kind of car do you have? Oh, I got a Tesla, whatever. I got a new Subaru, whatever it is. So these manufacturers, when they build these cars, they're thinking about the masses. They're not thinking about us. They got to be thinking about fuel efficiency. They got to think about all these things. So, like, for example, we had a brand new, beautiful Toyota Tundra Platinum come in. I mean, this thing was $100,000 truck. And literally we took the door off and had a square of sound deadening this big on that humongous door.
Right.
So I was like, okay, that's resonance. That's just there must have been some vibration they got to get rid of. So anyway, all right, Ben, you walk in, hey, I'm looking for some speakers, blah, blah, blah. So most guys are going to take you to the speaker wall. Well, first thing we do is we take you to the sound deadening wall. And we say, listen, man, this is what's going to go on, is you got this huge environment, and we have to change the environment. If we don't change this environment, then these speakers aren't going to sound any better. So if any guys know, like Dodge Rams, I mean, Dodge is huge. They have so much bass in them from the factory. And if you replace that speaker, you're going to lose all that bass. It's just the way that they design it.
Not what you want. Not what you want.
Yeah, then the client's mad. And now you think too, in this digital world that we live in, everybody's on the internet, everybody's on every forum, and everybody knows everything. Their buddy at Burger King knows better than you, and all this stuff. So realistically, we say, listen, man, here's what you got to do. We show them the door. So I have an active display in my showroom. One side of it has like a metal door panel with a plastic, like a vapor barrier and a speaker. The next one over it is like an actual nice, composite mount. It has a speaker in it. It's, dead in front and back, fully, this and that. Same song, same amp, same everything. You hit one switch, it's going to play the speaker a certain way. You hit the other switch and it plays the same song the other way. And as soon as the client does it, you don't even have to say anything. They're pushing a button.
Okay, so let me stop you there. What you're telling me is a critical part of this sale isn't even the salesperson, is having a demo, a display that can totally show the customer exactly what they're getting in so far as the difference. Okay.
Because what do most people do? Most people, they have like the bell and then ding dong, whatever. That doesn't really, okay, so you're making the car more dense.
It doesn't connect the dots totally all the way through. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I think like a real full active display is much better, because now they hear music and that's what they're trying to do anyway, right? So anyway, like you said, you hit the one button, you can hear like a mid bass, like it is. You see the plastic flapping in the door. That's what's really happening in their car, so they get it, right? So then they hit the other speaker, and it's just a significant difference. So I say, listen, let's take the money that you were going to use for speakers, and let's do sound deadening. Let's sound treat the vehicle, You try it out. Let me see what you think. And here's two things that's happened. It's beautiful that you can't buy. Right. Number one, client goes out to their car, they pick it up, boom, they close the door. Whoa, that's different. Instantly, they notice it. Okay. Now, two, they drive down the street and they're not screaming to the passenger. They're not doing this. They're like, wow, it's an instant noticeable difference in the vehicle. So you get that, right? Instant gratification. But the biggest thing that you get that we need in our industry, especially now, is trust. And now the client's like, oh my God, this guy, he wasn't
knows
lying.
what he's talking about. He knows
He
what he's
did
talking
exactly.
about.
That guy's going to come back and he's going to be a repeat customer and he's going to say, okay, man, now I want speakers and amp and DSP and all this cool stuff. So, and that's how we started my shop. So any single thing that you do, you come into perfections. We're always going to start with sound treatment, even if it's in a sense, not even just audio related. So for example, you got a lot of realtors, you got a lot of doctors, you got lawyers, you got people that spend so much time in their vehicles all day, right? Like when I was just in California yesterday, I mean, you're anywhere you go is an hour away, right? And then some people driving 2 hours one way to get to work, right? So they're literally in their car. So a lot of these people with these commutes, man, the car's driving them crazy. You're mentally fatigued because of all this road noise and stuff. So, the car should be like your kind of escape before you get into wherever you're going, especially 2 hours in traffic, or something else like that. So we've even designed different like DSP packages, which are really cool. I call it a professional package. And what that would be is like, you sell somebody an amp with a DSP and then you connect it with their Bluetooth. So now you do a full sound treatment, right? We call it a head to toe. And then when the phone call comes in, the EQ curve goes from this to this.
Oh, snap.
And it focuses just on the mid where the phone is at. And now you have the best Bluetooth conversation you ever had.
They probably sound like you just went from like terrible Bluetooth to like top of the line, elite level, crystal clear Bluetooth just from that.
Because now you got an amplified DSP sound treated EQ'd for just the phone calls.
Amazing.
And something like that. Think about it. You're selling a full sound deadening package. You're selling an amp. You're selling a DSP, tuning time, and install. And you're not even doing anything audio. It's literally because the realtor's in their car all day long.
But what I want to point out there is, John, you've diversified the avenues of who to sell this to, because everybody just thinks. Let's be honest. Whenever you're thinking about sound deadening a vehicle, it's the doors, right? You're putting front speaker in, or the trunk.
Or the bass head. Most people
or the bass head. Yeah, there's the bass head too, right?
Like, because you hear that, brr, brr, at the stoplight. People are like, oh man, people always joke around, oh, they need your stuff, John. And I start laughing. I'm like, everybody needs my stuff.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah.
I mean, look, I think the story is clear. I mean, I know you're open to this. People, I'm sure, if you have dealers that have questions, hit John up. He's always the guy to help first and give you the advice. Learn from their successes, because obviously they've had a go at it and they've been doing it for some time. You guys really cranked them out. All right. I got two other things I really want to dive into. One of the things is a comment I see often coming up in the chats and in some of our videos. In fact, there's a lot of sound deadening materials out there. I'm talking brands. And, in every category, there's a lot of speaker brands, wire brands, whatever it is. But same thing with sound deadening. So there's two parts to this question, John. From a dealer perspective, how do you combat the no-name stuff that's floating out there on some of these like Amazons and stuff like that? Like what is the spiel there? Like how do you overcome that?
Well, the reality is, yeah, man. I mean, every single branch of our industry, there's that guy. There's an Amazon guy, and then you got really good mid-range guy, and then you got the elite high-end guy, right? So it's one of those things. I mean, you just can't get every client. Some clients are just, I feel like if they're going on there and they're buying on price, one of my mentors told me a long time ago, Mr. Marcel Noel, like, I love this guy. He told me a long time ago, all things being equal, the customer will always buy on price, right? So what's your job? Your job is to make it unequal. And I was like, man, I love that. So my showroom, everything I do, we want to make it unequal. And then you can charge more because you're adding value. Okay. So if the salesman's whole spiel is, well, this is good for sound and this will help, and that's it, then the customer's like, well, Amazon says the same thing, so I'm going to buy it on price, or I'm going to buy this on price, because there's no value there. Like, what did you show the guy? Now, the reality is if you think about a door and you lay on some butyl and foil, what are you doing? You're fighting resonance. That's it. There's no sound. You're not killing any road noise and different things, because that's where the phone comes in, right? So I believe that, you know, us as salespeople aren't doing a good job if that client feels like it's the exact same thing. So we need to educate them more, and that's the point, right? But then you got these guys that are, they're on forums and, oh man, you can go buy roof material and put it in your car. I literally heard that like 2 days ago, and they're like, oh yeah, this guy I know, he just goes to Home Depot and he buys roofing material. But I'm like, well, they can't be good for the chemicals that are in it. Like
It's not
when
meant
we
for that
make
environment.
yeah, when we make sound deadening materials, we have to consider materials. It's in the vehicle, it's in your airspace technically.
Yes,
So, but
absolutely. Okay.
yeah, but you
I
got
mean,
those
it's a
clients that are,
challenge. It's a challenge
yeah,
that all categories are facing, John. And at the
every
end of the day,
category.
I think you hit the nail on the head. It's education,
Yeah.
education, awareness,
Mhm.
education, and awareness. You as a shop, you're a specialist. Customers are coming to your store because the expectation is that you have the answer, and to have the answer, you need to be well trained and well educated into everything that you're selling and doing. End of story.
Yeah,
No
absolutely.
excuse.
One thing I always like to emphasize that I learned a long time ago too is, what brand do you sell? A lot of guys, we have this huge badge on, we got all the banners up, all the brands we support. But at the end of the day, like, I sell Perfectionist. You go in my showroom, you see Perfectionist name more than anybody else's name. And then the good thing about that is the client, they understand that hey, we've done the research. This is why we switched the brand, because of this. You don't have to worry about it. We're doing everything for you. And like, even when I get new sales guys, I train them about, like, we're supposed to be the professional. They're not. If the customer knows more than then that's not good.
That's a
We need
fail.
to be the doctor.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're the doctor.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, last piece, and this is kind
Mm-hmm.
of a bigger question, and I saved it
Mm-hmm.
for the end here, John. You've found a following. There's no question about it. The type of support that you get from the industry, the visibility that you get, the type of builds we see on socials. So I'm going to ask you point blank, what do you feel has been the driving force of the success of SoundShield, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, one, I'm known for my amazing bear hugs. No, I'm just kidding. But
Nobody has ever given that answer on CMA.
if you ever see me in the show, I'm bear hugging everybody. So no.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I think here's the reality, man. I really believe that, the names I'm associated with, right? So CompuStar, I've been with them since 1999, and I feel like no one can say nothing bad about CompuStar, right? Perfection Solid Sound I've had since 1999, and it took me 27 years to build up this brand. And I've given everything I have to the industry to try to help people and do things that I can do. And I feel like, so when we have SoundShield, it's the same thing. We built it the same way. I'm not going to beat you up and try and just get numbers out of you. I want to build you the best thing I can build you, and it does what it's supposed to do. Now, there's some other brands out there that, they're phenomenal brands, and they have every single option that you need. But like me, I'm a high volume shop. We do a lot of cars every day, and sometimes you just don't need this material for this one sound. You don't need this material for this one sound, and all these things. So I tell people, hey, SoundShield's your 90% brand. And I know manufacturers shouldn't say that, but I'm being real. I'm going to get you 90% of where you need to be, because in the end of the day, if you're selling a 10,000, 5,000, 20,000, some shops $50,000 system, in the big picture, how significant is the sound deadening compared to the speakers, the wiring, the fabrication, the this, the that? So I want you to get in the car. You're maybe your shop guy is doing it or you're doing it, but when you put my material in, it's going to do what it's supposed to do. The car is going to be quieter. It's going to stick like it's supposed to. It's easy to work with, and because we use it every day in my shop, and it's going to get you 90% of where you need to be. If you have an audiophile client that is so specific, and you need this MLV, and you need this big blocks of this, and you need this and that, that's okay. I'm not your guy. It's all right. But on the jobs that you're doing, that's going to make you money, that you're just, you're pumping out, like the sound deadening's in there is beautiful. Here's what I want you to do. Hey, Ben, I just finished the sound deadening in your car. Step one is done. You got to come and see this. And when the guy comes in and all the logos are one way and it looks so nice, think about that right there. The customer already feels value. They're feeling like, wow, these guys' attention to detail is awesome. And then I'm like, you're never going to see it again, because once we put everything back in, it's gone, right?
It's gone. It's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. So ultimately, there's some, like I said, there's some brands out there that are really, really good, and they're scientific, and they got it dialed in. But I'm a shop guy, man. I wish I could give you all the dynamics and principles of, you know, the acoustical energy and all these type of things. But, you know, we got too many cars to do. You know, we got to keep
I got
working.
you, bro. I got you.
Yeah.
That's it.
So yeah,
Listen,
so I guess yeah, that's how that happens, and that's how that works. And I feel like in the industry, I think at the end of the day, you want to have a good name and you want to have your word. And I feel like I love everybody in the industry, and I try to give everything I can give. And, you know, and I think that in that and association and of that, that's why the brand is popular, because I'm an installer, I'm a shop, I'm not just a manufacturer. A lot of these brands that we work with, they don't know what it's like to run a shop, and I do. And I think that's the success of SoundShield. I think that's Perfection success, and I think that's, you know, all the people that we're associated with is a success, is because we all recognize, like, man, we're in this together. And, you know, I'm just not just some guy trying to make money off of selling boxes to you. You know,
you're in the trenches, brother. You're in the
I'm in
trenches.
Hey,
listen, fantastic job today, John. Thank you so much for taking the time. Obviously, you guys are busy like crazy. If you want more information on SoundShield, I do recommend you head on over to their official website, soundshieldUSA.com. Hit them up on their socials. They're on Facebook, Instagram, and they got a YouTube channel, even TikTok. And if you like this content, because we love giving content as well, make sure you hit the subscribe button below. Hit that notification bell to get notified when we come on with brand new mobile electronics content. John, thank you so much for joining us today. Guys, this has been another CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.